Hello, I have another exciting story for you today. We're still going to talk about Abraham or Abram and Sarah and his nephew Lot. Remember how God told him to come on and go to a land I'm going to show you? Not Abram didn't know exactly where he was going, but he packed up everything and he left. And they went toward Canaan. And I guess Terah, his father, was headed toward Canaan. And Canaan is the promised land. We'll get there. But so Abraham, Abram, and Sarah, and Lot, they're all packed up and they're going. And I wanted to look up how far they had to travel. So I looked that up. And if you Google it, you can find out. Just Google Abraham's journey from Ur of the Chaldees. So he left Ur with his father Terah and went to they went to a place called Haran. That was the beginning of Canaan. But they actually traveled from Ur to Canaan was 700 miles. Can you imagine how they had to travel? I think they had to walk. I think they had animals. They probably had cows and all that, but they had to walk 700 miles. I cannot imagine how long that took. And then that's part of the story. So let me go there. So they got to this place. They left Haran and they got to this mountain that was east of Bethel. And they stopped and they built an altar to God because God appeared to Abraham and he said to Abraham, "This land I will give to your descendants." You know who his descendants were? His descendants, that's, children, children, children. Y'all are my descendants. So his descendants are the Israelites, the children of Israel, the people who are Jews. Those are his descendants. Those are all his children. That's why Father Abraham had many sons, and we'll talk about that later. But he built this altar, and then they traveled some more, but a famine came. This is the exciting story. So a famine is when there's no rain for a long time. And I tell you what, I've had rain, and I've had rain, and I went outside last weekend and tried to walk to the pond, and I'm walking in water. And today I want a fire because it's going to be cold tonight. So I went out and collected some pine cones to make, the fire with. And water is soggy out in that back 40. It's soggy. So we haven't had a famine. But some people have famines. And when you have a famine, it means no rain for a long time. And when you don't have a rain for a long time, then the crops don't grow. You can't grow food. Guess what else you can't do? You can't water your animals. You can't feed your animals because you can't grow anything to feed them. So they have to go somewhere. Now, I think the right choice for Abraham might have been to ask God to help him out. But instead, and I don't know that for sure, but I do know that Abraham packed up and went to Egypt. And guess how far it is to Egypt? It is 800 miles to Egypt from where he was. Oh my goodness, I cannot imagine. So they went to Egypt, and when they were getting there, he said to Sarai, "You are a very beautiful woman. And you know what? If we get there and they think you're beautiful, they're going to want you and they'll kill me. So we're going to tell them you're my sister." So they told him that Sarah was Abraham's sister. And guess what? They thought she was beautiful, and they took her to the Pharaoh's castle, palace, whatever. And they treated her real nice, and they treated Abraham really nice because he was supposedly the brother. And really, it was only a half-truth because he was her half-brother, and she was his half-sister. They had the same father, and I know that we don't really do that here and now, but that was a long time ago, and I guess they did do it. But he was her half-brother, she was his half-sister, and so it was only half a lie. But you know what? If it's half a lie, it's all a lie. Not a good thing. Lying is never good. So guess what happened? When Pharaoh took her into his house, everybody got sick. I'm guessing. It says great plagues went on Pharaoh and his house. It doesn't say what happened. Maybe stuff started to die. Maybe, the plagues in Egypt that, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But I just can't imagine what it could have been. But I'm thinking it was probably they got sick. They probably got diarrhea. Y'all want to talk about that? They probably couldn't eat. They were probably dying. I don't know. It just says Pharaoh and his house had great plagues. Something must have told Pharaoh something was wrong. I don't know that Pharaoh believed in God, but I think he believed for that moment. And maybe some of his advisors told him, something's wrong here. God is punishing you for taking this married woman into your house. So he called Abraham and he said, why did you lie to me? And he said, take your wife and go. I forgot to tell you that they treated Abraham really nice. They gave him ox. They gave him camels. They gave him servants. They gave him all kinds of stuff because they wanted Sarah. And I guess they let him keep all those good things. They just told him to get out of town. So he left and he went back the way he came, back to Bethel. And the next story is the next video. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.